Vinny, your fucking shirt is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
It's funny, right?
I've been asking you for months. You said you have a bunch of these.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been like,
boxes.
yo, give me a shirt. And you never bring me a shirt.
Wait, why do you have boxes of those?
Oh, when I was like amateur fighter guy back in the day, this dude owned a t-shirt printing company and he's like, I'll make you a couple hundred of those.
And you're like,
so like I would go out to fight like at Magnus Arena in Denver. Yeah. There'd be like 500 people wearing my fucking fat ass on a shirt.
You throw a punch, you turn around and throw a shirt.
And this was literally... This was me in my underwear in my mom's office. That's the picture.
Really?
I took it as a joke.
You know what's funny about this, though, is it literally looks like a photo of you at a giant arena, just like...
I know. Yeah, I know. I was fucking in the study at my parents' house in Redstone Drive.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, the whole story is got out of college football, weighed like 350, which is what I weigh now. Yeah. Well, I started training the fight because the market crashed. Oil and gas hadn't started yet for me, so real estate was not an option. Yeah. And my guy was like, come take boxing lessons because you were a champion wrestler. Like, you get some hands, you'll make some money. Even as like a low-level pud whacker amateur, I could make like $5-6 grand a fight.
Wait, really?
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Yes,
so
that's a lot.
Money. That's money. It was for the time of my life with no kids, like it was fucking perfect.
Yeah.
So I'm training one day and... Funny story, the trainer that trained me is now the trainer for Kamaru Usman, who's the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC. Okay. It's real fucking training. Yeah. So that's how I met Brendan Schaub. We were training partners. Yeah. So, and he was fucking amazing. So my wife walks in one day. She's like, oh my God, Trevor, you made Vinnie skinny. Because I had lost like 80 pounds training the fight. And fucking Trevor Whitman's like, skinny fucking Vinnie.
I love it. Yeah. And just so you know, so Vinny's got this insane BMW X6M competition. It's like a track SUV. It's literally like it's literally BMW's like fastest, most insane
I got a good story about that later.
SUV that they make, and his license plates just say skinny.
It's fucking great, dude.
How did you even get that?
Dude, so I went to the DMV and the lady was like, there's two things are going to happen. Somebody has it, or there's no fucking way they approve it. Unless you have a really good, because like they don't do fat boy, like they don't do body shapes, right?
Oh, okay, interesting.
Because it's Colorado, like come on.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I was like, all right. Yeah. I was like, she's typing notes. How do you want me to explain this to the people that approve it? And I was like, tell them to look at my height and weight on my ID, and that it is a nickname that's supposed to be funny and make people laugh. Okay. She typed that exactly on the screen and boom, approval. And they fucking printed it for me.
Wait, did a real person approve it?
Yeah, it has to go through a whole process for like 10 to 20 days.
Holy shit.
And they have to approve. Otherwise, people will do like FAQ, like FAHQ.
Right. Yeah.
So, and so it gets approved and gets shipped to me. And the lady was like, I can't fucking believe it.
Oh my God.
Wow.
But it's funny when I'm driving my car.
They have a sense of humor, though.
Yeah, because people like pull up, like wonder if it's like some weird trophy wife thing with some weird guy.
Oh, yeah. Classic.
So everybody laughs. Yeah. When my wife drives it, it's not funny. Like, we've gotten out of the car before, and people are like, glad you think so highly of yourself. And I'm like, get a fucking life, asshole.
Oh, my God. That's amazing. Anyways, before we dive too far into this, I think we should introduce our guest today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Shawn Crowder. For those of you who don't know, Shawn is one half of the band Sungazer. The other half, of course, being Adam Neely, another music YouTuber. And Shawn himself is a music YouTuber.
Indeed.
And I've seen, in fact, the first time I saw your stuff, I actually commented on it. I don't know if you ever saw it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh. And I was like, because you did a video where you made hi-hats out of like 21-inch rides. Yeah. Or whatever that was. And I was like, yo.
That music. Snobbery.
Yeah.
We're already into the snobbery bullshit. I was worried about you because I was like, they're just going to talk about shit.
Like, I'm going to be excommunicated.
No. So Shawn made a video where he took two big ass ride cymbals and made a hi-hat out of them. You know, the hi-hat's usually like a smaller cymbal.
It's on your left foot.
Yeah. And so, and it sounded super cool. And I love like big washy cymbals and stuff like that. Like, it's just my favorite thing.
Yeah.
And so I saw the
Washy's
video.
super snobby.
Washy's
super snobby,
yeah,
dude.
for sure. So that was the first video of yours that I saw. And I was like, oh, no shit. Because at that point, like I hadn't necessarily like mapped out who everyone was. And so I was figuring, I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, Sungazer, because I listened to some Sungazer and all that kind of stuff.
You guys are fucking great, by the way.
Oh, thanks, man.
I was so glad. I had no idea. And so everybody was great. Everybody that performed was great. And then I had no idea there was a YouTube component to it. And it was fucking packed, and he didn't know it was going to be this packed. And we're all like, we got in because the lady let us in.
Tell that story, because that's actually crazy. Because they almost didn't get in.
We thought like, sure, we'll go to this local production. We'll support local music. Fuck that. You guys are like stars. So the line's out the door. We get up to the lady, and I'm like, we'd like 2 tickets, please. She's like,
Right.
And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, my homie's like performing with these guys. We have to get in. And she's like, I haven't done this and working here for like 11 years. Just show me your IDs and go inside. So it's perfect.
Wow.
Nice.
And then, but what was so crazy was when you guys start talking about who's watched videos and who's done this, that room was electric.
Yeah.
Those fucking people love you.
The fans, yeah.
Oh, you must get the weirdest fucking direct messages, dude. Holy shit. It was amazing, truly. It was cool.
Yeah, they're a good bunch. I mean, our fans are mostly music nerds.
Yeah.
Which is great because we are also.
I'm finding that out.
Yeah. Right, we've already started.
Yeah, we've already said hi-hat, cymbal, washy.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, they're fun. They're awesome.
But what a cool, you guys are amazing, and it was musical and fantastic. And my wife is not musical. I'm a little bit musical. Watching her enjoy it is the true, like, if it's worth watching,
Litmus
Mandy
test.
will move her hips and dance a little bit and like it. She fucking loved it.
Cool.
That's all you need right
Oh,
there.
thank you.
The
Well,
Mandy
one of the
litmus
things.
test.
That's one of the things I think is so cool about Sungazer is the fact that like it is this super insane, highly complex from a musical perspective, but yet you guys package it in a way that's like easily consumable. That still feels like it's like
Super important.
yeah, because it still feels
Thank
like
you.
you can kind
Yeah.
of groove to it, and it's easy to like hear where the groove is a lot of the time, even if it's some whacked out odd time shit. And like that was some of my favorite stuff because that's like the stuff I love the most. That's one of the things that drew me to somebody like Tigran as well.
Right,
It's like
yeah.
this stuff that's just like super complex, but yet you still can feel
Super
where it's
groovy.
at. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice to hear. I mean, that's something that we try to do.
Keep that, because
And-
that's a big component. Like somebody like my wife, being able to not know who you are. She's like, I hope it's not death metal. And I was like, well, you just don't understand death metal, babe. And then like we fought the whole way down there, and then she was like, this is fucking great. And I was like, yeah. So keep that.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we don't do it to try and commercialize it or
Right.
like water it
No,
down.
it feels like it's naturally. It happens that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things we value in music is, we like to have fun and get complex sometimes, but melody and groove and these kind of essential elements are also really important to us. So
Would this be an elementary comment to say you keep it a bit like musical for someone like my wife? Like, because I know that there's some death metal that people say, the reason this is amazing, someone like him would say, or you would say, is you don't even understand what they're doing. Well, that would be like me saying, don't watch what the quarterback's doing. Watch what the left guard's doing.
Right.
The way he posted his left foot
exactly.
and you'd be like, but the quarterback threw a touchdown pass. I don't give a fuck about that.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's you got to keep the quarterback involved somehow.
100%.
And hopefully the audience doesn't have to understand it to enjoy it.
Bingo.
But if you do, then there's like another layer. Like it's like coffee or food or anything. You get really into it.
Good point.
You might not know anything about it, but you're like, oh, that's a good espresso.
Yeah.
But, I'm sure you can go down the rabbit hole of
Of course.
knowing the
beans are
weather
from
of the
and-
region where
yeah.
it's from and all that.
Are you a
stuff.
coffee nerd? Because it sounds like you are.
I am. I mean, not to the extent that I will turn down a gas station coffee
Okay,
if
that's
it's
good.
the only thing available.
Yeah. So you're not like Starbucks is burnt.
Well, I'm still an addict is the problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But I do
me too.
appreciate a good coffee. Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Do you drink coffee?
No.
No, you don't.
We
Do you?
both looked at you just now. That was a vibe.
Yeah, I was like, whoa. I was like,
We're like,
okay.
get talking, dickhead.
Yeah, everybody's
turning around to attack.
I'm like, whoa, do you drink coffee?
You don't?
Fuck, no.
How do you get going? Just cooking?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
straight up
figured.
Coke. No, I mean, I was talking to Jake and Dylan about this, but my body's like like pretty A+. Like I wake up.
Listen to this
like,
fucking guy.
I wish you would have
Listen
said
to this guy.
I wish you would have said
Plus.
dialed in. I'd have been like douchebag.
I think A+ is still worthy of that.
Yeah, it's close, but dialed in.
there.
My body's really dialed in.
Yeah, it's
That'd have been
really
better.
dialed in.
Douchebag.
So like I wake up like naturally 6:30, no alarm clock. I fall asleep at like 10:30, and like I just go to bed. I have like
You mean you wake up naturally after 8 hours of sleep?
yeah, exactly.
So you just sound
feel
like,
like
a
most people
single
do
guy
that,
with
though.
nothing to worry about. It doesn't sound like anything special, dude. It just sounds like you're like, my life's pretty fucking great.
It's great. No,
And then you
it's
wake
great.
up and you're like,
yeah, I'm
my
done.
schedule, my time,
Yeah.
my emotions, let's
Right,
go.
Exactly. No, and then I'm ready to fucking go. Like
Yeah.
just ready for the day.
Has that always been the case? Because so for those of you
Yeah.
who don't know, Amram and I were freshman college roommates,
Yeah.
and so we lived in a. We didn't get stuck. Okay, so we both went to Purchase College, and they had these triples that were designed as doubles. And so what they did is they put a bed and then they put a loft and then a bunk bed. It was only ever designed for 2 people to live in.
What do you mean a loft? So it's an open studio room,
It's just it's a box.
and then
It's
there's
like-
a stairway up to another level?
No, a loft meaning like a loft bed. So a bed that's like on stilts. So
A
it's like a
bunk
bunk bed top without the bottom.
Okay, so
Yeah.
like
In
a
the bottom
the
section,
desk or workstation.
They put
Yes,
a desk.
correct.
And so, but these rooms were only ever designed for 2 people. And so, but they put, because they were like, fuck you, we're going to take your money anyways.
Yeah.
They put, 3 people in them. And so, we got lucky because because normally what would happen is even if you found somebody you wanted to room with, they were still going to randomly assign you a third person. And so that's one you would end up in what they
Same
called
with my
a
college experience, by the way.
converted triple
Yeah.
is what they called it.
Correct.
Well, we found a third person, our freshman roommate Terry.
Yeah.
And
We found a true triple.
because we found a third person, we had a group of 3 ready
Thruple.
to go.
Yeah.
They gave us what they called a design triple. So rather than this 2-room, we got this like weird lopsided bigger room that was actually made for 3 people. And actually, I don't think it was made for 3 people at all, because if you think about it, there were no closets in that room.
No.
They were only brought in like wardrobes.
Yeah.
So literally by
man at work.
by real estate definitions, it couldn't even be a
Fuck
bedroom.
no.
Right.
But they
Right.
it would
Sounds like a human shipping container.
they stuffed 3 people into this
Right,
fucking
right.
thing, and that's how we lived.
I would have rather had that though. Mine was 2 bedrooms and a bathroom and a little living room, right? Closed bedrooms. And it was supposed to be one person, so that I could be a football player, they could be an artist, and we didn't have to like see each other. And it was like they were trying to integrate the athletes with some of the upperclassmen, right? So they changed that when UNC blew up Northern Colorado, and it was 4 people in those 2 fucking rooms.
Are you
holy shit?
Yep. So you're talking like
Dude.
500
beds?
square feet.
Yeah.
And it was one little fucking weird room with 2 twin beds with a foot in between them. Oh. And then the next little door with 2 fucking twin beds with 1 foot between them. It was wild.
Dude, 500 square feet. That's what I live in now, and I'm like, this is
No,
good
no,
for
no, no,
one
no, no.
person.
no.
What?
Well, you're talking about it was a suite, right?
Yes, it had
Yeah,
closed
yeah.
doors.
Yeah.
So 500 square feet total, though. So you're talking.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you have a common area?
Yeah, but I mean, all 4 of us couldn't have been in there at the same time.
For sure.
Right,
For sure.
what are
Right.
you
Right.
gonna
Right.
do?
Right.
And it's supposed to be, like athlete with an artist or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
It was me
Yeah.
with 3 artists. And this is like
That's hilarious.
pre-transformative Vinnie.
Yeah.
I'm still like meathead jock guy.
Right.
It was fucking weird, dude.
That's fucking
It was good
hilarious.
though. I apologize. To all
Sean,
3 of those
remind me
guys.
where you
So-
went to school. I forgot.
Berkeley.
Oh,
College
you
of Music.
okay? So yeah,
Boston.
so you and Adam both went to Berkeley.
Yep,
right?
that's
Yeah.
where I met Adam.
Okay,
Yep.
right.
So you're smart.
Yeah. Well,
What was your SAT score?
for a drummer, yeah.
What was your SATs?
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
I don't even.
No, honestly, I don't
remember-
Even, what
I
is
don't
the
remember
People that got good
scale?
scores don't remember.
No, I don't
People
remember.
like me, I know exactly.
What is
Yeah.
it? What is it?
No, we're not doing that.
You brought it
I'll
up,
show you my tax returns before I show you my fucking SAT score.
but you brought it the fuck up.
Yes, because I know you guys are smart and don't need to know your test scores. I was like, what do I have to get? And I beat it by like 3
No,
points.
okay, so seriously, in regards to SAT, so like I made a decision that, I'm gonna go to music school, and so in senior year, I really checked out the first day. Senior year of high school, I was like, fuck it, And so high school, senior year of high school is rolling around, and the SAT comes by, and like I think I didn't do shitty. But like I did like pretty.
What was
whatever.
the score? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Well, like,
Isn't it out of 2,400?
It's changed.
Yeah, what is
it's
the-
changed
Oh, is it
nowadays.
changed now?
'Cause, like
I
for
have no
us, I
idea.
thought it was
I
out
mean,
of
I have a
1600.
computer here.
I don't know.
Yeah.
1600. That sounds
Yeah,
familiar.
right.
16.
Right.
Yeah.
Max,
No,
but-
16
No,
sounds
not max.
high.
Because
Oh, yeah.
because 16 sounds that might have been.
Well, there
like
was
what
another
I
test
got.
too. What the
ACT?
ACT?
No,
Yeah, that was different.
400 to 1600. So 1600 would be perfect.
No. I don't think that's right. Now it is. I
Yeah.
think it used to be 2,400.
I don't know.
Something like that. Vinny, what'd you get?
No. Let's put it this way: when they sent me my letter of intent for a full ride football scholarship, he was like, "Don't sign that yet. We just got your rejection academically." So he had to call the comptroller. There's some word for it, registrar or something.
Registrar, comptroller.
He had to call that person, and he's like, "We just offered him a full ride with books and boardroom and food and full athletic scholarship. We need to push him from conditionally approved to full approval, no conditions." And I was on three-way, and she's like, "Done." And that was it.
Wow.
And I was in, baby.
And now you're in school. Now you're in school.
Yeah, paid
What
to be a nose guard.
Higher education's not corrupt at all.
Oh, right.
Oh man. So how did you decide like on Berklee? Like, was that just something you had always thought of? Because I know Berklee's one of those ones that like a lot of times younger musicians are like, that's where I want to go.
Definitely.
You know.
Well, yeah, it was one of maybe 3 or 4 schools that I looked at. I was also.
What were the other ones?
Yeah, so USC, Southern
Okay,
California. They had a very good music program. They still do. And UNT, North Texas.
Yeah.
And then University of Miami.
Yep. Frost.
Canes.
Frost, yeah.
And I think so. My top 2 were Berklee and USC, and I ended up getting into both. But Berklee just was a better fit in terms of it allowed me to study many kinds of music, many different styles, and that was really important to me. Like I didn't want to only study jazz or be a classical orchestral percussionist,
Right.
which is kind of what all the other schools offer.
That happened to my sister at Northern Colorado. They call it the School of Music.
Yeah.
And she got pushed into the classical opera, music theory, hardcore, like have the classic voice, don't do the pop stuff. She was really sad at the end, like because it was 4 years of learning shit that she already knew how to do and just kind of tuning it instead of like what you got to do, which was she wanted to study it all.
Yeah, I mean, UNC was one of the schools that was kind of, I grew up around here, so they were sort of pushing that on
It's a great school.
all of us.
Yeah.
It is a great school, absolutely. But again, as a percussionist, I would have been limited to, playing xylophone and timpani.
Yeah, they would have put you in a box, just like,
Exactly.
I'm very,
Like, man, I want to play drum. I want to play drum
but
set.
you were aware of that then from before you went to school in terms of like knowing that you wanted to have this more sort of well-rounded approach to what you were studying. That's great because like I didn't realize that until we were partway through school because I was totally like jazz elitist snob like
you
shut the
still
fuck
are.
up shut the fuck up I could feel it coming from a mile away. No, but I wouldn't give any other music the light of day until I got partway through school, and I was like, why are all like the people around me listening to other shit as well? And that was something that I had to like learn.
That's interesting.
To start from that perspective and knowing that you want to go to school with that in mind, like that's super valuable.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just happened accidentally or naturally for me because I was already playing all kinds of stuff. Like I was doing the school band thing where I, did the jazz band and the marching band and all of that. But I also had like a garage band with a rock band with my friends. And it's like, I just love good music.
Yeah.
So I want to learn as much as I can about all these different styles. It doesn't matter.
So do you listen to everything?
Yeah, pretty much.
Is that true? Because like he would say that, but that's bullshit.
Well, yeah,
no,
of course.
that's not bullshit.
A lot of people say
you give
that.
it 30 seconds, then you'll tear it to shreds.
But the three of us can absolutely tell you that yes, there's some shit that you'll give 30 seons and you'll be like, yeah, okay, I get it. And like, if you're not into it, you're not into it. Because like some stuff you can have figured out in 30 seconds for sure.
Why do you have to figure it out, guys? Just fucking listen to
Because
it.
our minds are already like
because you know what you're hearing. Like if you send me something and like I've heard it before, like I know where it's coming from in terms of like what kind of music it is or like how it's constructed or like the instrumentation or whatever it is. You can oftentimes hear stuff and pretty accurately put it into a bag. Now, that's not to say that you could come across stuff that drops something on you.
Take a deep breath, Vinny. Take a deep breath.
But Isn't that the whole point of music is that it sounds good?
Yes.
So even if it's Coldplay's 3 chords or Chainsmokers 3 chords or U2's 3 chords, and we know where it's coming from, and I'm a fucking novice, and I know there's a formula to those 3 people I just said.
Absolutely.
It still can fit the moment, fit the vibe, and you guys still wouldn't do it?
100%. But check this out. There's a team out there in the NFL that is efficient, that gets the job done, that does it very well, that you just don't really care about watching because it's not interesting. They don't play in a way that's like, you're like, yeah, okay, I get it. It works, that's fine.
First of all, fuck off. You just totally put me in a box. You're right. So great job. Because before you said it, I was like,
3 teams came to mind.
He's going to bring up the Jaguars from 98. That team. So that's true. There are absolutely
it's kind of the same
formulaic football teams that the service, Navy, Army, all those teams, they play the triple option. That's about as exciting as watch a buddy jerk off. Like, I have no interest in it. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to prepare for it.
Yeah, right.
So you are correct about that.
Yeah.
So that's true.
And then, in another example, like Lewis Hamilton is not a person that is polarizing because some people are just bored by watching him win.
It's a little bit boring.
Because he's a fucking surgeon.
And knowing he's got faster cars from my limited knowledge.
Yeah. Which is certainly a component to it, but like he's so efficient that people are almost bored by him, and like that, it's. To answer your question, it can absolutely be the right fit for a particular scenario, but it's just something where you're like, I get it. It's just not that interesting.
If Chainsmokers come on for you, and I'm not, I used to be a chain. Fuck off, whatever. So if they come on at a barbecue and you're whatever playing the drums, having a couple of beers, you're not going to be the guy that's like, ugh.
No.
Turn it off.
But I wouldn't do that either. What the fuck are you talking about?
Does that, Vinny? I don't fucking do that.
That's true. But I like to picture you guys doing it because it's way funnier.
Right.
Like my 4th of July barbecue, all you guys are like,
oh my god, dude! One day I'm gonna just put on that act on the.
You should do that next time we hang out.
I'm
like, bro,
this shit again.
Kia
Yeah, I mean, something could be simple and be great.
Yes.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
And that is a magical thing, too, when somebody plays the 3 Coldplay chords and still manages to captivate you. You're like, whoa.
Well, because it's not as simple as just playing them or not playing them.
That's a good point.
It can be played in a boring manner, or it can be played in a manner that's extremely exciting.
So it's like, when it comes to like really creating music and like as the user of the instrument that you have chosen, drums or saxophone or piano, a lot of it's just like touch, tone, and like in drums, like the balance between like how loud is that ride cymbal in comparison to the snare. In terms of the saxophone, it's like tone, energy, inflection, and all these things, and that makes up the whole entire thing that you're hearing. So like we get really picky about those details because we've studied those details and we have it on our own thing.
I appreciate that. The football thing is dead on because it is when you know what a team's going to run. Yeah, it's like, oh, come on, guys.
Well, check it out. I mean, listen to John Bonham play a 4/4 groove, and then listen to Led Zeppelin.
John Bonham.
Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin drummer.
Okay.
Listen to John Bonham play a 4, just a standard.
No Quarter is my favorite song, by the way, of all time.
Yeah, exactly. Just like a straight ahead 4/4 groove. And then listen to somebody literally play the exact same notes in the exact same place. And it doesn't sound like that.
It's like we could all sing an A note right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Somebody's going to be the best at it, and it could be the right note. Like you could sing
In
exact
A,
sure. I could sing A. Somebody's gonna. If we made them vote, they'd be like,
they'd be like, oh,
somebody's better.
Vinny's the best.
That's just physical fear. That has nothing to do with my actual singing.
That's amazing.
So real quick, because I'm sure we haven't talked about it. Now I'm gonna MC this bitch.
Yeah. Okay.
All the instruments you can play, and when I say play, you could impress my friends at a party. Like we're all having beers, and you've got all your instruments out. What do you play?
Okay, and I can impress like your normal
non-musician, not these dickheads. It's like my buddies from college.
Okay.
Yeah.
So saxophone, flute, clarinet, piano, guitar.
Really?
Yeah. Trumpet.
Take that back.
No, I can do that. No, I
fucking heard you play trumpet.
Remember, it's my friends. Remember, it's my friends.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true.
He could play taps and we'd be like,
oh shit. Right. And I think for the most part, that's it. But then, like, baritone horn.
He says
is the
that's
same thing.
it.
No, wait a minute. But when you say
9.
saxophone, you're including
Competent
all of
with
them.
9
Yeah,
instruments.
of course.
Yeah.
But then, like baritone horn. But then, like, the thing is that, like, once you get into like how music works, it's just like, the piano is just a keyboard, and if you look at a xylophone, it's the same shit, and so you can just play
stop.
that too.
He's getting too deep because it's not the same fucking thing. One is this and one is.
But it looks the same, and the fingerings for baritone horn and trumpet are the same. You just got to change your arm.
I don't know what a baritone horn is.
Oh, it's
So
like-
You do. You know, euphonium. It's
yeah.
like a little tuba.
like a mini tuba.
You've seen it.
euphonium.
It's-
Yeah.
Although a baritone and euphonium are technically different.
Is this like the penis thing? You're fucking with me again? It is. Euphonium's not a word, is it? You fucking dickheads.
I swear to God, that one's real.
It is a real pretentious name.
So,
It
like
is a pretentious
6
name.
episodes ago, they told me that it's pianist.
No. We said pianist.
Pianist.
We said it's not a pianist. It's a pianist. And we
I bought it.
We
I
convinced,
drank it, dude.
We convinced him of that, and then he left, and we went a whole week of him thinking that
It was more than a week, and I legitimately thought I was like correcting my mom.
You're like, I've
dude.
learned a new word.
I was like, it's pianist. My guys that do music for a living told me so.
And then the next episode we casually just dropped like, oh yeah, last week we had Vinnie convinced it was pianist, and
it's brilliant, 'cause I
and he was
fucking love
like,
Prince.
and he was like, wait, what? That wasn't real.
That was really good. Did you guys talk about that before, or was it just organic?
No, it just came out.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
So many dickheads in
so
the room.
fucked.
So how many 12 instruments do you play?
What do I?
You'd have to impress a
your
room full of
non-music friend,
a bunch of dudes with CTE
Okay.
and manic depression. We're all trying ketamine to get better because we played football for too long.
All right, so
Yeah, right.
piano, obviously.
Saxophone.
Saxophone. I've never played Barry, but I've played alto and tenor. Yeah. But I've never played Barry.
It's the same shit.
Listen to this conversation if you're me, right?
right.
Barry.
Trumpet, baritone.
Yeah.
Blueberry
Yeah,
saxophone.
it's all the same.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
Penis thing.
Somebody needs to make an album called that.
But you could literally be like, the strawberry flute is my favorite. And I'm like, oh yeah, I like it too. I like it
Right.
too.
Well, see, so if it's
And drums.
if
I play.
it's flute, then also piccolo for me. Because
That's
I
true.
do play
That's a good
that,
point.
Do you play a jazz flute?
You play a little bit of
Yeah, I
jazz
do.
flute.
Yeah, I mean jazz flute's a style.
Yeah.
Like
Jazz
Ron
flute?
Burgundy style? Like
Yeah, I could
pull
do
it out of
that.
your sleeve and
Yeah, I could do that.
No, he
literally
can.
I literally can.
you got to bring a flute next time.
Do you have
That'd be
your flute?
awesome. Do you have your flute in your
not,
sleeve?
Not right now. No.
What
no,
the
no.
fuck,
But
Amro?
Next time, be like,
next time,
next
time. Yeah.
It was an
I'm not
expecting
prepared.
this.
yeah.
You're up now. How many instruments?
Drums.
No, you gotta play piano.
You play some
Okay,
shit.
no,
yeah.
We're
So-
pressing
We're pressing
non-musicians.
his
All right.
friend.
Well, I can play a little bit of piano. I can play a few guitar chords.
Okay, I feel like that translations to it's probably a lot of piano.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Well,
But
if
keep
I
in
had
mind,
time
this is
to
a bunch of
prepare.
old football players drinking beer.
Right.
And you're like, hey guys, and you start banging, and we're like, rah, rah, rah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm wearing my own face on my shirt. I'm
fair enough.
not very sophisticated. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I had to.
Very sophisticated.
I was forced to study piano.
Right.
Laboriously.
Yeah.
Did Berkeley? Did they make you take piano class?
Yep.
Yeah.
But even before that,
Okay.
when I started playing drums in, I guess, 5th or 6th grade, in order to play in the school bands as a drummer, you had to study piano for a year so that you could play the xylophone and all of that.
Wow.
So,
yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, I hated piano lessons, but it was super valuable.
It's because you haven't taken lessons on the Cornell Music Academy.
Yeah, exactly.
Intro to piano
Plug
class.
it.
It's a bit. Link in the description down below.
Today's coupon is.
Yeah, exactly.
So my mom made me sing. I had to be in the top choir from 8th grade to senior year of high school, or I was not given car insurance and wasn't allowed to play football. Wow. It wasn't just like you have to sing to play ball. It was like you have to sing for me to pay your car insurance and play football. I'm not raising fucking all meatheads. You can be like 80% meat, but it's got to be 20% jazz flute, right?
Well, there's some incentive, yeah.
Yep. So I liked my car and I loved playing ball. So I can sing. And that's my thing. And I can play a little bit of piano, but my piano is more like you can play the note, I can sing the note type of thing. Reading music, not my thing. But a question just popped into my head for you guys for real.
Yeah.
My sister always complained at the School of Music about a course called music theory. And she tried to explain it to me, and I was like, you'd be terrible on a podcast because that was a shit fucking way to explain a course. How would you guys explain musical theory at a college level?
Let's let Shawn take
Yeah,
it.
please.
I'm curious
Special
what your
guest.
take is on this.
Yeah, well, depending on who you talk to, there's different definitions, but I would argue there's a naming element to it. There's just a practicality of we're going to call this chord this and this note that, just so that you have a way to communicate with the other musicians. Then there's another layer to it, which is quote unquote how music works, which is not really how music works, but it's how classical music from Europe works.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so that there are certain rules that you can follow in order to make the music sound like that style.
Okay. So it's hard.
There's also jazz theory as well, which has a different set of rules. And I guess you could apply that to any style of music.
Yeah, and it's interesting because
completely
I feel like there's a crossover, right? Because I actually don't really know much classical theory, like in a traditional sense. My education is completely in jazz theory. So, but what is true, I think, across all of them is a lot of what you're talking about. So it's like the naming. It's like essentially just building a glossary of how are we going to refer for exactly what you said, it's communication purposes. But then like there are certain things about relationships between notes which really boils down to frequencies of like vibrations, because that's all notes are, and like why certain ones worked with the other ones, and like how certain ones can draw your ear to expect a certain you know, in some ways I feel like it's
math.
It's a lot of it's math, but it's
math.
like defining why naturally there is a certain human ear expectation which can sometimes be derived from stylistically. So like you're saying, like Western European classical theory versus, you know, African rhythms, which could be totally different, right? And then, you know, you have this sort of how your ear sets up expectations, which, like I said, some of it's derived from that, but then some of it's derived simply from math, which is frequencies and rubs and how, you know, how different notes go together or don't go together. I mean, and I don't know. That's an interesting question. Would you say more of it is based on like nurture versus nature? Because then you take something like Balinese gamelan music and you're like, okay, that is the most, to us, makes no sense at all.
Right.
You know? But like, if that's what you know.
Put your dick away.
Well, yeah, it's...
He's just flopping that musical thing all around.
Right. Well, there's a... I don't know how we got there, but yeah, there's a cultural element, meaning there's a culture of each style of music that sort of defines those expectations. And
is it safe to say that it's not really definable then? It is who's teaching it, what it's about, and what you're trying to accomplish in the course.
Yeah,
and that's why she couldn't explain it to me.
Well, and the who's teaching it could be the culture, like you're saying. It could be a tradition.
And I think hers was so classically European focused, and the guy was trying to be a dick. That's why she hated it so much and really couldn't explain it.
Sometimes that can happen. Yeah.
I mean, we've all had bad teachers and coaches. It's fucking worst.
Yeah.
Necessary to grow, but really shitty in the moment.
Yeah.
So now, okay, so just back on the music theory thing. So I found myself learning music theory because, like, I guess you could say in the initial years, just self-taught, where I would sit at the piano and I'd notice, like, oh, I can use my ears to figure out a song. And then I'd notice certain patterns. I'm like, oh, if you shift it down, it sounds like the same song, but lower. And then, you know, when, as a music teacher, I find that you have to be, like, curiously driven in order to learn music theory, or else it's just all these, like, superfluous rules.
You got to want to learn it.
Exactly. And so my middle school teacher gave me a music theory book, and, like, I just read that, and because I was just bored one summer, and I started figuring, like, I didn't have much. Yeah. No, yeah.
I read a music theory book because I was bored.
Right.
How old were you?
8th grade, 7th, 8th
26.
Grade. Wow. Yeah, right. No, and then from that, you're like, oh, I can solve these musical puzzles in my mind by using music theory as like a tool to kind of aid my ear.
Does this all translate to the whole, like, there's production and management companies that have a formula for songs, and they take people like the Chainsmokers who started out as DJ production type people, and they teach them this little formula for pop songs, and it fucking goes.
I feel like you would have more insight than us because you have more experience in this world than, because like I'm pretty relegated to the jazz background,
right.
So I haven't done like and I want to get into this later, but like all the stuff that you guys have done with Sungazer to create this incredible structure, and like just to give you a kind of a preview, Sungazer has literally a set of pre-programmed like you guys have computers on Ethernet talking to each other.
Yeah, that when you pointed that out, that was wild.
He turns his entire drum kit into a set of, like, he literally can play 2 instruments via the drum kit at once, via a series of triggers and sensors and things like it's insane what you guys have set up with Sungazer. Like, it's I've never seen anything like
thanks, man. Yeah.
And I think it's
cool.
It's so cool. And so, like, yeah, I'm curious, like, because you guys have been in more of that world of being able to kind of like see other things other than just like traditional jazz, I guess.
Right,
you know?
right. Well, as far as the formulaic aspect of songwriting, I think it depends on who it is, because some people are trained in the theory and others, they just have a lot of experience writing songs. So you can absolutely become a great musician without knowing how to read, without knowing what this chord progression is called. So I think it's maybe a combination of study plus whatever your experience, which is probably the biggest thing. Mm-hmm. Like if you write a song a day for 10 years, that experience is so much more valuable than like a set of rules on a test. But you will also come to conclusions, like you'll learn tricks that work, and you're like, okay, well, we did a verse chorus, now let's change it up in the bridge, and mm-hmm. these sort of tricks, like we can bring the dynamics down and then build it up into the last chorus. So you start to learn these little tricks. I don't know that you need the theory to do it, but it can help.
Well, I've always talked about, like, you definitely don't need theory. Like, there are plenty of musicians in history who didn't know jack shit about theory who were amazing.
Yeah, I don't think Snoop Dogg knows theory.
Yeah. And it's funny, I mean, to bring up hip-hop, because, like, do you know Russ?
Russ.
Yeah, the producer, hip-hop producer. Like, he's a dude that did exactly what you were saying, like, the whole, like, write a song a day for 10 years. Like, I don't think it was exactly that, but he was basically, okay, I'm either going to make this thing work or I'm not. So the only way I'm going to do it is by creating, and I forget what the frequency was, if it was a per day or per week or something, like, but he produced so much shit that finally people just started noticing. And like now he's finding some success in that world. And like, it's because of just like constantly going at it. And I don't know what is
cool.
It is super cool. And I have no idea what his experience, like, what his knowledge level is in terms of music theory or whatever, but it's great stuff. And it's like, it kind of just goes to show like that exact
I
thing.
think this is something you can definitely relate to with YouTube, and something that I've talked to Adam a lot about is like attaining quality through quantity. Meaning just the more times you go through that process of filming a video, editing it, optimizing it for the algorithm, like the more you learn what works and
I'm a massive proponent of that. When I would coach football, or coach wrestling, or fighting, anything, it's we're gonna do so many fucking reps, and they're gonna be awful until they're good, and then we can peel the rep. We can go for quality over quantity, but you have to do it and do it and do it and do it and do it until you see what's good. And then the people that can do it really good, really quickly are the phenoms, which are the 1 out of every 1,000 people you talk to.
Sure, yeah,
I totally agree with that.
That's interesting.
Just
I mean,
do it.
It makes sense that. That's like one of those universal principles that applies to just about anything.
I totally agree.
You know what else are universal principles? So we've been doing this segment, not to sidestep too hard, but we've been doing this segment where Jake provides us with his thoughts of the day.
All right.
And they have been. Jake's writing a book. It's going to contain thoughts of the day and a couple other things that we've been doing.
I'm writing the forward. We talked about it.
Oh, sweet! That's going to be amazing. Okay, so nobody look at these just
yet.
It's
going to make no sense.
And we're gonna read Jake's thoughts of the day. So okay,
who goes?
And then okay. So who wants to start?
I'll go.
Okay, Amrock's going to start. I said not to look at it.
Sorry.
All right, here we go, guys. Jake's thought of the day. Apparently, my sister just bought a twin bassinet. Personally, I think she should have gotten something for her kids, but expressing yourself through music is equally important.
What?
Wait.
There's layers to this one.
Did you read that wrong?
Hold on.
No. I'll read it again. No, look, I did it. I read what it's written.
Twin bassinet?
Yeah,
like the baby holders. The baby,
is that
he's
what that
dying.
Is?
I love that he's laughing.
Jake is losing his shit over here because we're all confused.
But is this like a double meaning, like a bass clarinet?
Is it because bassinet sounds like an instrument?
Like a bassoon or something?
Yeah. So it's someone that doesn't realize she bought it for the kids.
Oh my God.
All right,
I think it was funnier that we all we're trying to figure it out.
Oh, that's the first one that's ever been written.
You see, it's funny that the music snobs didn't get it.
No,
Vinnie got it.
Right.
Vinnie got it.
That is
because I'm outside looking in.
Outside, yeah. He's like, oh
my god, jeez. Okay.
The first time I realized I was balding, I was in a supermarket security camera. I look at those things, by the way, and I'm like, what a piece of shit. And I'm talking about me. First time I realized I was balding, I was in a supermarket security camera. I was at the self-checkout buying double stuffed Oreos when I looked up at the security cam and noticed glaring flesh-colored patch near the back of my head. I could feel my face flush, my chest tighten as I looked around to see if anyone noticed the patch. Many existential things occur at the supermarket. The security cameras aren't for monitoring theft. They're for making you look as ugly and bald as possible so you can buy more crappy food. It worked on me. I went back in, exchanged the double stuffed Oreos for the mega stuffed Oreos. That's my life, bro. Every fucking time at the King Supers, I look up and I'm like, yeah, you buy those steaks, you fat pig. That one spoke to me, dude.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Right. You're fully insulated.
Man, it's fine. I shave it off, man. It's way easier.
Right. Dude.
When it happens to me, I'll be bald.
Yeah. It's
you
better
wear
to
hats
be
all the time, anyways.
Better to be bald than balding.
Yeah. But you got a nice head of hair.
I got Italian cabbage.
You got a
now.
nice head of hair, bro. Yeah.
Nice.
You keep
that
shit going. No, that's great.
I haven't paid for a haircut in years.
That's actually nice. Yeah.
That's a good point. That is a good point. Yeah. There was what the hell? Well, never mind. I was going to say I had something to say about that, but I completely forgot. Let's keep going.
All right. What do we got here? It's scary to admit, but last year while walking home from the grocery store, I was the victim of a brutal drive-by shooting. Luckily, a stack of frozen pizzas in my backpack saved my life. It's not Kevlar, it's DiGiorno.
Jesus Christ.
That's pretty good.
That's dad. It's a drive-by dad joke. That's fucking good.
Right.
He's DiGiorno.
Oh my god! Wow,
that's awesome.
That's amazing. Okay, one more here. Let's see. The only thing that sucks about being an honest Nigerian prince that needs to offload millions of dollars out of the country is that no one believes you when you email them asking for their bank account number.
Wait, you guys, I didn't let the joke breathe, and I'm sorry, but I looked in the back of my dad's car yesterday when he pulled up to my house, and he had a package with a Nigerian address. And I'm like, motherfucker, what are you sending to Nigeria? This is a true fucking story. Yesterday. And he's like, oh man, my friend on Facebook.
Wait. You got to give Shawn some context because his dad is hilarious.
Yeah, he's
like you. It's like you don't even know.
He's a retired gym teacher that wears Gucci suits, drives an SVR Jaguar F-Pace tricked out, and he's literally telling me his friend in Nigeria from Facebook needed these supplies. And I was like, Dad, what's in the box?
Yeah.
I became Brad Pitt. What's in the fucking box? What's in the box?
So it was a package with a Nigerian address.
Yes.
Wow.
Why?
This is too
and
on
I'm
point.
like, and he's like, oh man, my friend from Facebook needs some supplies for his class. And I was like, you are not sending anything to fucking Nigeria.
That is so sus.
And I was like, so what is it? And he's like, oh, it's some gift cards. And I was like, oh my God. What? Dude. Yes. And that's why I'm the executor of my mother's estate.
Oh my God. Holy shit. So wait, so did he give you the backstory? Like what happened? They emailed him.
Fucking Facebook friended him and talked him into some gift cards and made it look like charity. And I'm like, you're not sending that, right? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, I'll send it for you. Dude, I'll send it for you. He's like, oh, thanks, brother. I was like, yeah, I'll send this for you.
The thing I love, one of my favorite things interacting with your dad ever was like the time we went to that car meet and he brought the SVR.
Yep.
And it was like he had just deleted the resonators. And it was like, this is probably one of the greatest sounding vehicles I've ever heard in my life. It's wild. It's a Jaguar SUV.
You've never
it's
heard
a luxury SUV.
like it.
And it has this naturally aspirated V8, which just
No, it's supercharged.
Oh, it is
supercharged.
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 Oh, okay, so it's super, but that doesn't affect the exhaust.
No,
is the thing. Because if it was turbocharged, like it would mess it up. But like, so it's oh my God, this thing is amazing, and he's got it. Is it straight piped?
Oh, it's straight pipes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's got straight pipe, deleted the resonators. It is the loudest SUV I've ever heard in my life. But it's like a good, like it sounds, because like some cars, they like delete their mufflers.
It doesn't sound like a Toyota
sounds,
Corolla that lost its oil pan over a speed
exactly.
bump. It sounds like a supercar.
It's amazing. Nice. And we're at this car meet, and some guy in a 4-cylinder Mustang, which
so
admittedly,
for what it was,
I was impressed.
Yeah.
Because to me, a 4-cylinder Mustang is sacrilege, but like, whatever. But your dad, this dude's like revving it, right? And your dad hands the keys to one of
my nephew, I think.
Yeah. And he's like, he goes, blow it up. Blow it up. I don't care what you got to do. Blow it up.
Blow it up. Blow the Jaguar up, Jackson. Blow it up.
He was like, blow the engine. I don't give a shit.
Gets the car.
He was like, just bouncing off the rev limiter. Like, oh my God. I was like, this dude spent over $100K on an SUV, and he doesn't give a fuck.
That was a fun day.
Oh yeah, that was great. Nice. Doesn't that happen regularly? We should go.
Yeah, there's another one. I'm actually sponsoring it. Porchlight's sponsoring it, so we'll go.
Whoa.
You were gonna fucking tell me about this?
Yeah,
or what?
it's not for like 5-6 weeks. So
okay.
yeah.
All right, fine.
Yeah, we'll get it done. But yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. So anyways, we have a brand new segment that we're gonna try. This is something we've put out the feelers to our audience, and we said, listen, we believe that we're capable of kind of providing the best advice out there ever. So why don't we just let people call in with their life problems, with their issues, with anything they need help with. And as we demonstrated last week with the new section of Dear Vinnie, which was amazing, we were like, you know what? Why don't we open it up to the table and see if we can solve some problems for some people? So we have, hopefully, we've set up a number. We've got it queued up, and we've hopefully got a bunch of people in the queue ready to go. I mean, how many we got in there, Jake?
One.
Wait, are you serious? There's one?
Yeah, it's just one.
There's one person?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Looks like Craig something. Just Craig.
So, really, we put this thing out and there's only one person in there? Okay. All right. Well, no, that's fine. We'll, damn.
Where's the audio going to come from?
Well, we're gonna talk to Craig, I guess, and we're gonna see if we can help Craig with his problems or something. I don't know. All right. Well, let's just dive into this. Craig, are you with us? Are you here?
Hello, guys. Charles, is that you?
Yes, it is me, Craig. How are you? Thanks for calling in, man. I really appreciate it. Why don't you tell us where you're calling from?
I'm calling from Kitchener, Ontario, in Canada.
Kitchener, Ontario.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, up north.
That's crazy, man. What's that like?
It's pretty warm this time of year, and when it gets colder, it tends to be colder that time of year than when it's colder.
What's warm for you? Is it like a balmy 54?
We deal in Celsius, but it's tends to be around it gets up to 30 degrees Celsius, which in Fahrenheit is a larger number. Not entirely sure.
Sorry, Craig. We don't mean to laugh, but anyways, Craig. By the way, Craig, what's your last name?
Craig Sullivan.
Sullivan. Okay. So Craig Sullivan, thank you.
Too? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry there. No, I just wanted to say thanks for calling in. Craig, what can we help you with today?
It's nothing really serious. I just you guys were saying that you guys are good at problem solving, yeah?
Well, we like to think that we are, and
not Celsius to Fahrenheit, though.
Well, aside from that.
Nothing math related. That's okay. This is more of a moral dilemma. Have you guys talked a lot about music today, or has it been more of just kind of a smattering of things?
Well, so our guest today is Shawn Crowder. Craig, say hello to Shawn.
Hey, Craig.
Hey, Shawn. How are you, man?
Doing good.
And
that's good.
Craig, in case you don't know, Shawn is part of a band called Sungazer with another YouTuber named Adam Neely, and they're really, really great. So yeah, we've been talking a little bit about music, and we've covered some stuff. So yeah.
Nice. Well, this has absolutely nothing to do with music. I was just kind of curious. This is more of a moral thing. And so I was at the airport, and this happened like a couple of months ago. Have you guys ever been to the Toronto Pearson Airport?
Yes, sir.
Shawn has.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was at the YYZ. That's the one. So I was at the Toronto Pearson Airport.
It's a Rush song too.
That's good.
Yeah. Do either of you guys, do you guys have any like bowel problems? I just wanna know
my
if one
body's
of
A
you can
plus.
What'd you say?
Ready to go.
Amram's body is dialed in.
You dialed in. That's good. Well, that's good. I'm happy. But like mine tends to be a little, wishy-washy, and so there's times when I'll go to the bathroom. It'll take quite a long period of time. So I was into the bathroom. Of course the airports have been pretty backed up the last little while.
Have you been backed up, Craig?
Yeah, I was gonna make that joke myself, Carl. I knew you'd go in there. I was there a little while ago, and they've been pretty backed up, and so is my bum. No, but I was there with my girlfriend, and she had to wait. But anyway, I went to the bathroom. And there was a long line in the bathroom that I was waiting to use the stalls to take a number 2 in. And when it came, I was probably waiting there for 15 minutes, so I was kind of ready to burst by the time I got to when it was my turn. And when it opened up, when it was my turn, the only stall of the 6 that opened up was the handicap stall.
Yeah, go.
And so this is, I guess, my first moral question. What would you guys do in this situation?
I would sit down and go poop.
You would go to the handicap stall.
Well, Craig, was there anybody in a wheelchair that was there?
That's the thing. I looked around and there was nobody in a wheelchair, and so I thought, well, if I'm the next guy, then I should probably go use the handicap stall.
Yeah,
I think
okay.
I think that's okay.
If you wouldn't have, somebody else would have.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. So I just thought that was probably the best course. So I went and I sat down. But this is where the real moral dilemma comes in: is that I tend to use the bathroom for an extended period of time. So I was in there, and I was taking a real good one, and it was one of my best. So it was taking upwards of 25 minutes. I would say 25 minutes or more had passed. And again, I will.
Didn't you have a flight to catch?
I had a flight. Yeah, it was a long day. I was watching. My girlfriend and I were watching Game of Thrones on the laptop. Bad thing to watch in an airport when there's kids around, because there tends to be boobs that come up on your screen, and that's not a good conversation to have with a parent. So, wouldn't recommend it. But anyway, I was in the bathroom for, again, an extended period of time. I'm not even kidding, probably 25 to 30 minutes until I finished. And then when I got up and it was my turn to walk out, the next person in line was a legless veteran, and he had his arms folded, and he was a lovely gentleman, but he was not happy with me when I walked out, and I kind of almost burst out laughing, but also I said sorry and then went to wash my hands. I'm just wondering, is there anything I could have done or that you guys would have done differently? Because I felt terrible, and I almost felt like I was doing the walk of shame on the way out of the 45 people that were in line.
Yeah, I would have
take a dump.
Craig, the only thing you could have done is Metamucil on the front end. So
I think it's a good.
It would have been a 5-6 minute poop instead of 30.
Yeah,
if you would have had some Metamucil the
thing.
night before.
Yeah, it may have been the 3 burgers I had that morning in the airport. And yeah, probably some fiber would have been good. I think you're right about that. But yeah, I just felt really bad for the guy.
Craig, how long was he waiting there?
That's a good question. I never got the chance to ask him, believe it or not.
That's just a moment where you say thank you for your service. You walk right the fuck on.
You know what? I think that's a good point. I think I should have said thank you at bended knee and then just went on with my day.
Craig, how did you handle the situation? What did you do next? Did you just walk out?
I kind of went to I wanted to get out of there as fast as possible, but instead of getting out of there, I thought it would be wise to instead wash my hands, because I think that would look worse. Not only am I disrespecting those who serve us, I'm also just walking out with shit hands into the hallway, which I think would have been really bad. So I instead washed my hands thoroughly. And then I think people were still looking at me. So when I turned around, I was like, maybe if I wash my hands for 30 seconds, I'll turn around and everyone will have forgotten.
Wash the sins.
There was, I would say, 40% or more of the eyes in the line were still looking at me as I left. About a couple of them were laughing and like smiling, and I looked and laughed and smiled back. But there was a lot of disapproving smiles or disapproving, glances rather.
Did you? What was the state of the stall when you left it?
You left it clean.
It was. I would use the term offensively smelly.
That's okay.
It was.
But not visually disgusting.
No, it wasn't visually disgusting. I cleaned well. I mean, it might have been a streak here and there, but like other than that, it was kind of your standard washroom. I mean, at the Toronto Pearson Airport, you can kind of expect what you're going to expect. Also, but like it was also one of those stalls, like how they have like you can just look under. Why is that a thing where you can just look under stalls? And just see.
It's so that kids can look under and see grown men pooping and say, "Are you almost finished?" That's been my experience of fucking airports. But Craig, let me back up a second.
That has actually happened to me. What do you do in that situation too? Like I don't think, what did you do in that situation?
When a child looked under? So
say that again.
Are you talking about when a child looked under the stall?
Yeah.
So you have to be very firm to not get in any weird gray area that a child is looking at you potentially nude. So I used words like, get the fuck out of here. Because I wanted no gray area, that there was any invitation to hang out whatsoever. Yeah, I would rather deal with the father post that comment than what was my kid doing in your stall. So I'm a big get the fuck out of here guy.
I think that's right. What if a legless veteran peered under your stall?
You just look right back at him and say thank you for your service.
Okay, well that's good. I think the key here is just thank you for your service. I don't think you'd say that to a child, but I think to any veteran that's wrong. Thank you. Well, I mean, children are they serve a purpose for us, and I think that we can thank them for being children and for laughing and playing.
Yes.
You may want to just default to thanking everybody for their service, because I think we can generally accept that most people serve some type of purpose for somebody.
And I think that's true, because you never really know who's a veteran or who's done what.
Right.
I mean, gee whiz. I mean, if you just say thank you for your service to everyone, you never can do any wrong.
That's true.
Great advice.
That's true. You're avoiding a potential awkward situation where you leave that out to somebody who deserves it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Craig. I mean, it sounds like sounds like you got a good head on your shoulders.
Thank you.
And thank you. And I mean, I don't know necessarily how much you need us to tell you to steer you in the right direction, because you solved the problem, I think, in a reasonable way. And I would say next time you just you maybe try not to push a little harder, perhaps.
Yeah, and, I think I probably could have done that too. I probably, maybe I was taking a little too long in there. And
you got a little headroom before you start busting capillaries, bro. It'll be okay.
Yeah, you're right. I think you're right about that. So I appreciate that very much. And
Craig, real quick, just go ahead. As you walked out and everybody's looking at you, just remember that when you make eye contact with people you don't know and you refuse to break the line, you usually win that stare down.
That is a pretty,
So you should have walked out of there and just washed your hands like behind your back, staring at everybody.
Yeah.
And just been like, this is me. This is what I'm doing.
That's a pretty big power move. I do that with my grandmother sometimes, and she gets scared. But I think that's a good point as well. Before I thank her for her service. Yeah, but so it's something that. Yeah. Okay. Well, this has been great, guys. Thank you for this. I will, next time that happens, I will definitely do that. This is practical.
Well, Craig, I want to thank you for using our hotline today and for calling in, because it turns out I guess you were the only person, but that's okay, because we're happy to be here. We're happy to help you out. We're happy to solve your problems for you, and you just give us a call back anytime you need further advice for anything.
Well, sure thing. I enjoyed getting the advice, and I mean, it sounds like you're not too blocked up with calls, so I might call in again. Who knows?
And thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service, Craig.
Thank you guys for your service.
Holy shit! Okay, well that was Craig. Wow. Never doing that again. So moving right on. Yeah, we should go into while we're on the advice subject, we should go into one of our favorite segments on the podcast. This is Dear Vinnie. We thought it would be a good idea because we obviously, everybody knows about Dear Abby and all those types of things, but I said we have a resident 350-pound monster who has a lot of life experience, including being a fighter and all kinds of things. So this seems like the perfect opportunity for somebody who should provide life advice, for relationship advice, whatever people need. And we tried the segment last week, and it was shockingly insightful.
Truly.
So we're gonna do a section of Dear Vinnie. I'm gonna give you that. I'm gonna give you that, And Amram, we'll start with you.
Okay.
And now these are real people.
I've never
These
seen
are real
this.
people who have submitted these for Vinnie, and from our audience. So let's who's this from?
Dawson from Yukon, Canada.
Hey, all right.
Canadian. Hey, Vinnie. I've had many close friends in my life, and time after time, they hurt me emotionally and eventually break up with me. What am I doing wrong here? Am I the problem, or am I just picking the wrong friends? How can I find the right ones?
There's a lot of context missing from that, I feel.
Yeah.
Friends, right? Not boyfriends or girlfriends.
Friends?
You're allowing yourself to be hurt. That's the first thing. Because your friends shouldn't be able to hurt you that way. That's why I asked if it was friends or girlfriends or boyfriends. We allow ourselves to be vulnerable to a point where we get emotionally hurt by people we are super intimate with, which should be our partners or people that we're being intimate with. So if your friends continually hurt you, you have the wrong type of relationship that they are not reciprocating. I'd be willing to bet those people don't even know they're hurting this person the way they are. Because if I don't know about you guys, but the only person that can really hurt me is my wife, because that's who I'm intimate with.
Yeah.
Now, if it could be a mix of both, like you could be picking shitty friends. So I don't want to say it's all on this person, but with my friends specifically, they only hurt me as much as I allow them to hurt me. Even my best friends for life, they can say something shitty to me and fight with me, and I don't go cry in my car about it. I'm like, oh, well, fucking Eric's being a dick today. Check in tomorrow. So I think definitely there's wrong expectations on what a friend is.
The only additional thing there is that there's the additional detail of, and then they eventually break up, which that's
why I got
interesting-
confused.
Well,
Right.
yes, and
Is
that's
that
it.
Is that a red flag? Like friends breaking up? I mean,
Well,
obviously friends come and go.
yes,
you
but
can-
usually it's not official. You know what I mean? Like usually it's just like, oh, I haven't talked to so and so in a long time.
Dawson's expectation is incorrect for friendship. That sounds
Maybe.
like intimate relationships.
But I wonder if if he's saying
She.
Dawson? Well, it doesn't matter. If they are saying that break up with me, is this a consistent thing that's happening time and time again?
Right. I don't know.
Yeah, because like that would be interesting, and that might be. I don't know. Would that be indicative of like a weird sort of setup from the beginning?
Expectations.
Yeah, I guess that's
It's
true.
all expectations.
Yeah, yeah.
Relationships are expectations. Period.
Has anybody ever had a friend break up with them in that way? Like,
I've had a friend be like, "Hey, this
we're not
isn't-
going to be friends anymore."
Yeah, I've had a friend be like, "Hey, like I was going to come to this, but I'm not because of X, Y, Z," and they gave me this whole diatribe, and I was like, "I'm not fucking you. I don't care.
But that's
Like, get the fuck out of here."
But is that different? Is that somebody saying like, "Hey, we can't be friends anymore"?
To a point, because after that weird shit, I was like, we don't need to hang out.
Yeah, right.
So, but that's why I asked you. The very first question was, are we talking about boyfriends and girlfriends? Or are we?
Yeah. Right.
That's so.
Yeah.
Dawson, your expectations are completely incorrect.
Yeah.
Friends are there to fill gaps in your emotional needs, not to be your bedrock. Your bedrock's for your wife, your partner, your husband, them, her, she, whatever. That's where that comes from.
I like that.
Some people it comes from faith. Some people it comes from relationships.
Yeah.
But it's a wrong
You
expectation.
ever had a friend
for
break
friends.
up with you, like intentionally, like specifically?
I feel like in ninth grade. It
Really?
was school marching band, and right, and so the context was that my friend confided in me that he liked this girl. Let's call her Sam, and it was the championship marching band final round thing, right? And we had a coach bus, and for whatever reason, I don't remember, but like I sat next to her on the bus, and then he's like, "I'm not your friend anymore." Like essentially, yeah.
And you're
Super
what,
petty.
14?
Yeah, ninth grade.
By the way, last thing I'll say to Dawson is, if your friends are breaking up with you, they were never really your friends. That was a totally different kind of relationship.
Seems like an odd thing to happen. Yeah, I don't think I've never had a person say like, "Oh, we can't be friends anymore."
Right.
Like
Right.
specifically.
I wonder if Dawson could write back and explain it more,
Yeah.
because this sounds like relationships, not just friendships.
Interesting.
Big
Yeah.
fucking difference.
Does that ever happen to you?
No, I mean, I think the closest thing I've had is there was a musician that I was working with who is from Japan, and without getting into the details, some weirdness happened with the business side of things with the artist that we were both playing for.
Oh, gotcha.
And so she left the band, but by extension cut off contact with everybody else that was associated with that group, which
interesting.
Dylan, you lived in Japan. Maybe you can, I know you're not on mic, but you might be able to comment on that, that is a thing that happens culturally in Japan.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Dylan's saying yes, it is. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So just like total like cut off of communication and being like, okay, I'm just gonna end this.
Yeah.
here.
Whereas like if you and I were playing, let's say we're backing up an artist, and for whatever reason you get fed up and you quit the band, like you and I can still be buddies. Right. We can still be
exactly.
Friends, but
okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Wow. That's fascinating.
Why such like to an extreme? Like it's the artist that's in question that you're backing.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
we're still
Yeah,
a lot of
you
things.
know.
there, in Japan, there's a big emphasis on the group, like the community, rather than the individual. So the group is more important to you, and that's on a micro scale, like your family, protecting your family's name and reputation. So that's where some of that comes from.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to be associated with
Sure.
any bad stuff, but it
That's
extends countrywide as well.
It's the right
So-
thing.
Huh. Well, that's really interesting. We have one more, dear Vinny. I think you have it.
Let's do it.
Indeed.
That's
Jake's thoughts. All right. So this is from Andrew in California. Dear Vinny, how do you judge the quality of a good piece of media like movies, books, etc.?
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, that's tough because we all get sucked into Rotten Tomatoes scores and IMDb scores and audience scores. I try to not judge books by its cover, but then I see something on a Netflix screen that their graphic is better than the next one. So I guess if they're asking how I judge it, are we talking pre-watching or post-watching or during?
It's like you judge Netflix by its autoplay preview.
Well, I mean, give
the thumbnail.
Give
Yeah,
us to
it's-
us both, like pre and post.
Wait. Let's phrase this in a different way because this is particularly useful for Shawn and I. How do you decide what YouTube videos to watch?
Brilliant. There's a lot to do with not just what the opening screen looks like, but what it's called. Because if you can't tell me what I'm about to watch, I ain't clicking to find out.
How much, like, how specific do you want that to be? Like, do you want to essentially know the entire premise of the video before you click on it?
Not the entire premise, but I want to know how it starts at least. So if it's like, why the Model X is a terrible car, I don't give a fuck about that because that just sounds like you've already told me what you think of it. If it was my thoughtful review of a Model X, I'm into it. I'll check it out.
That's fascinating because I feel like the data suggests the opposite.
And it might, definitely.
Because like so often what we see is and actually I learned this from my buddy Daniel Thrasher, who's really great,
killing it.
Yeah, unbelievable creator. And he was doing this thing where he would set up the joke of the video with the title, but the punchline would be the text in the thumbnail. So it's like or at least like how the question proposed in the title was answered would be in the thumbnail. So essentially you already knew what the premise of the video was, but you would click on it anyways because you wanted to see how it played out.
Yeah.
So by that logic, you could say that somebody saying why the Model X is a terrible car would actually get a lot more clicks because you'd be doing two things. You'd be getting clicks from people who are like, yeah, the Model X is a terrible car and I want to be validated in my opinions. And then you have people who are like, fuck you, the Model X is amazing and I just want to get angry and see why this guy's wrong.
Totally.
You know, and so like you get those two things, but you already know what the premise of the video is. You're just like finding out how it plays out.
Yeah.
You know?
It's the whole idea of anti-clickbait.
Yeah,
where
basically.
you give the answer in the video, but what's interesting isn't the answer, but how you got there.
The
Yeah.
journey.
Like
100%.
that sparks your.
Do you feel like
your
that translates
curiosity.
to movies and stuff? Like, do you like that? What type of trailer will make you want to watch a movie versus make you want to not?
So I guess I'm the anti-clickbait, but I'm actually the anti-clickbait guy. Like, whereas when I look at movies or I try to look at who's in it, what's the most unique thing about it, what's the premise of the plot line. I've noticed like Netflix movies that they're making, they are literally dog shit. They're not just kind of bad. They're actually poor productions, shitty fucking stuff. The writing's dog shit. Day Shift with Jamie Foxx? Are you fucking kidding me? Like,
I haven't seen it.
It's so bad, dude. The Contractor with Chris Pine, like, these are awful fucking movies. So I think one of the biggest, so I'll answer the question right now. If it was made specifically for Netflix, Amazon, I have a massive red flag.
Really?
Because I truly believe they are doling those fucking movies out like a drug dealer just to give people their fixes.
Right.
Okay.
If it's from a big production company, they try to do a theatrical release, they try to do the press fucking rundown, I will give that a shot any day of the week before some bullshit made for Amazon Prime.
What about something like The Boys? Have you watched The Boys?
Yeah, and but that's a series, right? So,
so you
series
say
are totally
movies are
different.
different.
I'm talking just for movies.
I see.
If it's made for cable, basically. Remember the term straight to DVD?
Yeah.
That's what these fucking movies are.
Yeah,
they
kinda
just have
are.
everybody fucking tricked.
Yeah.
But these are like half-rate, bad writing, terrible acting, bullshit movies.
Just going off.
It's terrible. But the series, they're investing way more into that shit.
That's true.
So the series I will give, if we're talking just looking at series, I will look at highest rated series, trending series, and see what is the hottest series. Because if somebody's willing to watch 10 fucking hours of it and give it a good rating, way easier to decipher a rating on a series than a movie.
You know what I find myself doing most of the time? I will ignore Rotten Tomatoes and I'll go straight to the Google users. So like it says like Rotten Tomatoes this score, but then it says X% of Google users liked this movie or whatever it is. Because to me, like the Rotten Tomatoes is all like the critics, and like that's all bullshit because they have fucking stupid like, you know, it's the stuff that's gonna get nominated for Oscars and stuff like which is all just like super pretentious bullshit. And like, but the Google users rating, that's real people. That's like real people who are like, this is great. Yeah. You know, and it's like pretty rare. It's oftentimes I feel like you see the opposite. It's like the Rotten Tomatoes score is bad. Usually the Google reviews are good.
I've noticed that.
Like, if critics didn't like it, chances are like people generally did. You know, and there's some things that are outliers where like everyone hated it, you know, but like the new Ghostbusters, but like, you know, but you know, oftentimes I feel like there's a big disparity between those two scores, you know?
Yep.
But I want to talk a little bit more about, because I want to dive into how you guys set this Sungazer stuff up, because this to me is fascinating. And when I watched it happen, like from the stage, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because like, so, you know, just to paint the picture, you guys can perform your entire show with just you and Adam.
Correct. Yeah.
And I know like most of the time you want to have, you know, keys and a horn. Like,
it's more fun with other people.
Yeah, for sure. But like it's possible to do it just the two of you.
Yeah.
And if anybody's heard Sungazer's music, you'd be like, are you kidding me? This can be done with two people, right? So if you could just like, I would love to kind of hear like your sort of summary of how this thing is set up. Yeah. From a perspective of like the tech that's involved with it and how you run it in a live setting.
Definitely. This is.
I know that's like a super loaded question.
It is. I'll give the short answer first, and then we can dive into any details you want to hit.
Yeah.
So essentially, we have usually 3 or 4 musicians on stage, but like you said, Adam and I can run the show ourselves as a duo. So in the simplest form, it's bass, drums, and 2 computers, and most of the sounds are coming out of Adam's computer. And then I've got all of my stuff that's tied to the drums coming out of my laptop. But our computers are connected via Ethernet, and they're communicating with each other so that, for example, my sounds will change automatically, that just means, and I listened to your episode with Anomaly, which I'm a huge fan of him.
He's great.
And I think he does the same thing where you automate the patch changes so that you can just focus on playing music and the sounds will change around you. And that way you don't have to like reach over with one hand behind you and turn knobs and, you know, all of that while you're playing some complicated thing. So, that's, I guess the short answer is that we each have a laptop, but then it gets more complicated because I have drum triggers running into the laptop. And a drum trigger is just a sensor on the drum that picks up the vibration. And it translates that into an electrical signal, which can be converted into MIDI, which you can then use to control anything.
That's cool.
So I can play a synthesizer with the drums, a low note on the bass drum, a high note on the snare, and whatever else I want in between. and then the rabbit hole just goes down from there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So it's like you can be playing drums and theoretically piano or some type of keyboard synthesizer like at the same time.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating because then it's like there's a whole decision-making process that you probably have to go through of like how do you decide what note to attach to each trigger?
Right.
Because it's like, do I want the bass drum to trigger an E flat?
Yeah.
And why? And then like, does that now? I'm already kind of going down the rabbit hole. Can that change in an automated fashion throughout the
So that's where I was going.
So you can go from chord to chord almost.
Yes. So we can improvise over
crazy.
changes with this.
Oh my God.
So we're tied to a click track because you have to in this scenario, which means that we're tied to, let's say, a 4-bar loop, and you're not hearing the 4 bars, but it's programmed in. Like the first measure is C and the next one's F and whatever the chords are. And then any rhythm I play within that will be improvised, but it'll follow the chord changes.
That's cool.
That's so wild.
Yeah. And
so
that's where the programming gets really complicated.
Yeah. Oh my God. So how much time was spent?
So much.
Opening up the gates of hell. Like, yeah. Like, how long did you guys work to build this? And also, things don't inherently exist. Unless they do. But my understanding is like programs in terms of software don't necessarily inherently exist that say, here's how to do this. So like you guys had to figure out how to hijack the functionality of a different piece of software to get it to do this.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like how long did that process take?
Well, 10 years. I mean, we've been working with electronics in one form or another for 10 years.
Yeah.
And it started out very simple. Like Adam wanted some pedals. Like the OC2 is an octave pedal, so it makes your bass sound like a synth. And I bought this Roland Octopad, which is a really simple drum machine that has built-in sounds, like bongos and cowbells and stuff. You can't customize anything really. You just use what's on there. And that was kind of like the introduction to that. And it had electronic drum sounds as well. From there, I sold the Octopad and bought a Roland SBD SX, which is what I still use now, just like the big boy version of that. You can put your own sounds on it, and like all the big touring drummers use that, for pop acts and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's the thing, it's a piece of gear that has like pads on it that you can strike.
9 pads. Yeah. It's got built-in effects like reverb and delay and stuff you can turn on and off. But it can also act as a MIDI controller, and that's the third level. And so now we're getting into territory where the drum triggers from the acoustic drums are going into this Roland box, going out of it via a MIDI cable into the computer. And then inside the software, we can do anything we want. And that's where you start playing synthesizers in Ableton via the drums.
So so essentially you're using this to to get a MIDI signal.
Essentially, yeah.
And then it sends it to the computer, but you can apply that MIDI signal to any patch that you want.
Anything, yeah, right.
That's and that's where shit gets crazy.
Yes, and then
but then you have to have that computer tell that the computer then has to decide what patch to put in that place, which is where you can program it to change throughout the track.
Yes, yeah, right. And then there's another element which is the arrangement of the songs. And that is one place where we use this workaround, like you're talking about. The software isn't really designed for this, but we made it work anyway, where we can loop certain sections if we want, or we can just play straight through the song. So that it gives us a lot of flexibility. Like we're going to play through the whole song until the solo, and then we'll just loop that as long as we want.
Because this gives you opportunity to improvise.
Right, yeah, track. This allows us to go back to our jazz roots.
Right, which if, for anybody listening, like the idea of, okay, we have a click track, and we're going to play this tune, you would not inherently expect that there would be an opportunity for improvisation within that, because just by the nature of it being a click track from beginning to end, you're going to be where you are in the song no matter what till the end. But this is interesting because it allows you to open that up and to loop that section.
Yes.
What is the actual switch that you use to trigger the loop to start and then to move on?
Well, it starts automatically.
Oh, it does.
So everything will move, like all the sections are broken out, like verse, chorus, whatever, in the software. They automatically advance. And we use something called IAC driver to do that, which is a built-in functionality in Mac OS X, which basically sends a MIDI signal out of Ableton and back into Ableton. It's really stupid, but that's the way you have to do it. And that MIDI note triggers the next scene. So it's
Wow.
Yeah, it's really it's a pain because you got to program all of that stuff.
Yeah, so it's almost like you're using a well, I mean, this is a similar thing in a sense because we have an out going to a limiter, to a compressor limiter, and then it just goes back in before it sends the signal out.
Right.
So I know it's not quite the same thing, but the idea of a loop thing that just goes out and right back in before it moves on.
Yeah.
So you're saying that in and of itself contains the information to then tell the track what to do next.
Exactly. And
so,
it's you pick a note, which is like, I don't know, the highest note on a keyboard, whatever, G8 or whatever that would be.
Yeah.
And that's the note that's dedicated to moving to the next scene. And then...
So just don't accidentally play that while you're improvising.
Right.
Well, right.
If you want to stay in the loop.
Right. I think it's like beyond what would actually be on a keyboard. It's like high enough that it's out of the way.
Oh, do you have to click
something.
it?
Well... So it happens a couple ways. First of all, it's programmed into the places that we want it to automatically advance.
Okay.
But it's also tied to a pedal, like literally a sustain pedal on Adam's side that
so you just have the pedal tied to that one note on the keyboard.
Step on it anywhere in the last measure of the phrase,
and it'll go
on the downbeat, it'll advance to
Gotcha.
the next thing.
Okay, so you can leave it in that loop for as long as you want, and then say, "Okay, ready? Here we go. Moving
exactly.
on."
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, this can happen an unlimited number of times within the track.
Yeah.
Wow, that's nuts. So you had to then start with the question. You had to ask the question first and say, okay, we have this software. I want to do this thing. How do we get the software to do that thing?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
How lost did you feel initially when you said, like, we want to achieve this functionality, but we don't know where to start? Or did it come from, hey, see this thing that you guys use Ableton?
Yep.
See this thing that Ableton is doing? Like, I wonder if it could also do this. Like, how did that come up?
I mean, it happens both ways, but most of it is like, we have a need. We want to do this. Like at the end of the day, like, yes, it's complicated, but the reason we do so much programming is so that when we get on stage, we don't have to think about it. We don't have to touch the computer, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it all works. And there's a long process of like ironing out those gremlins that the bugs. But it's just about need. Like, we want to be able to loop the solo section. How do we do that? You're like, oh, if we want to do that, then it requires that we program the rest of the song and have this automatically advancing scene change thing. And there's like lots of factors. Like, how do we rehearse this stuff? Like, we want to be able to start on verse 2 if we need to work, rather than if you're stuck with one audio file that's your backing track. You don't want to start from the beginning of the song every time.
Over and over again to work on section C.
Yeah, so there's like all those necessities that factor in how you actually go about doing it.
Have you guys ever talked with the people at Ableton?
Yeah.
Because I would imagine that this has got to be very interesting for them, because you guys are asking the software to do things that it wasn't necessarily designed to do, but you're finding these abilities within it. And that's got to be interesting for them to be like, oh, okay, well, can we do something with this?
Yeah, well, and I think, I may be wrong, but I think in the latest version of Live, they actually may have integrated some version of this automatically advancing thing. I mean, that seems like a very basic feature that should be a part of the software. And they do have some new, I think, follow action functionality. They had something like that previously, but it just didn't work the way that we needed it to.
Right.
So we're still on the old setup because we've had this file for like 6 years or something.
Really?
So we're just like, it's broken, don't fix it.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess if we were more program minded, like if we actually knew how to write code, there's like a lot of really cool stuff that we could do with Max for Live, where you can design your own devices. I don't have really any experience with that, but that would be something that we could definitely do. But, my signal chains get insanely complicated for the drums because in some cases I am, I'm following the chords, but I might also be randomly generating notes within a certain chord scale. And like the programming of that is really intense.
So randomly generating meaning like you're randomly assigning triggers to different notes all the time based on a chord input?
Yeah, like let's say I want to hit this stack symbol and I want it to just be random notes but within the key of C.
So it changes every time you hit it.
Yeah.
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 Jesus.
Yeah, or random chords, and that's also really fun.
Right, because you can build multi-output,
Yes,
for a
yeah.
single note, so that every time you hit a thing, it plays a full chord, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, a lot of this is, we're not coming up with this necessarily from scratch. Like, we're very inspired by musicians like Zach Danziger, who's a great drummer. Played with like Michel Camilo and Wayne Krantz and lots of other people, but he's got this project called Wednesday Night Titans, who we're actually going to be touring with them this fall in the U.S.
Oh, sick.
September. So he's like really taken this drum triggering stuff to the extreme, where he's like playing. He's a one-man band essentially with just the drums.
Wow.
And then he's got another musician on stage. But yeah,
That's wild.
It's nuts. So like we learned a lot, watching guys like that. Watching lots of YouTube tutorials about like how do you use Ableton Live, because we didn't learn that in college. Like we picked it up ourselves and by watching videos online.
So now you guys have been performing for a long time doing this stuff, and the live show is tight. I mean, it's fantastic, right? But there had to have been a point at somewhere along the line where like something happened and you're like, I don't know why this is happening right now. Like what's like some weird situations you found yourself in when the software either does something that you weren't expecting, or like it just doesn't work the way you were thinking?
Yeah, man, we still run into it occasionally. Like things are pretty dialed in at this point, but even on this last European run, we
like Amram.
Dialed in
like Amram's body.
Exactly. That being said, like we were playing in the UK, I don't know, a month or two ago, and we had an issue where Ableton, and this is horrible, but they tried, or the software did an automatic update during the show, and it totally derailed the laptop.
Wow.
What?
Yeah, it's like, how on earth, like there's a set.
How is that even possible?
And how is that the default setting? That's like, if Ableton, if you're listening, like that
Holy
should not be
shit.
the default setting. So
what, did everything just stop?
Everything stopped. So we were playing like first song or two went fine. And then we started, the third song, and it just stuck on a loop of the first section. And we're like, oh shit. This is not good.
Wow.
So the audio didn't stop. It just stopped progressing through the track.
Yes, which is just as bad. I mean,
did you guys just keep playing?
We kept playing for a while. We thought, like, let's try and save this, let's be musicians. And then at a certain point, we just had to stop it and, like, tell the audience, so we're having some issues
Did
here.
you figure out immediately what was going on?
No, it took a little bit. Adam took like a one-handed bass solo for a while he was like working the mouse with the other hand.
Yeah.
And it's not fun because it was also like a packed show, like 500 people sold out.
Man.
Yeah,
This is so embarrassing.
Oh,
it's like not our fault, but still we're responsible. So it still happens, like things that you could never foresee like that.
Yeah.
And so the only way to get through it is just like test it a million ways.
Yeah.
Right.
That being said, one of the cool things that happened in that show is that we ended up just improvising a lot in the middle of the show. We eventually got the laptop working and like finished the rest of the songs, but we had a good chunk there where we were just jamming, the three of us, Adam and I and Pierre on keys. And that was really fun because it forced us to explore new territory.
Yeah, totally.
And sometimes like being thrown into a situation like that can show you possibilities you didn't know were there or didn't have the courage to explore because you want to play it safe, okay, this works. But
of course,
sometimes being like forced into a situation, it forces you to come up with something new, and it gives you the courage to like do something a little bit risky, musically speaking, and that can actually be really cool. So then when you go back the next time, like, okay, I know we've got this other place we can go.
Yeah, it's like this new thing happens, and now it's a piece of your arsenal that you can revisit later, or even hone in and figure out, okay, why was that a cool place to go from there?
Yeah,
it's interesting, and like, not to make this an ad read of any kind, but like it's legitimately interesting, I think, because so we've been having one of my professors from Purchase has actually been doing a couple of courses on the Academy with us, and he wanted to do this one recently that was like all based on, we're calling it the improv obstacle course, but what it is it's like it's just like a set of limitations, so that there's 30 exercises. And so he'll say like, okay, for one exercise, it'll be for each chord, like you play a big interval up and then a small interval down. And then you can play, you can play one of these lines for one chord and then one for the next, or you can sit out a chord, or you can play both for every chord. And so it's like forces you to think in this entirely different way of like, am I going to go doo-doo, doo-doo, or like how are you going to play those things? But because I feel like so much of what happens so much of the time, and I've felt like this a lot, which is you wind up developing this vocabulary, this arsenal of things that you revisit constantly as an improviser. And what ends up happening is you just get bored. You just get bored with your own playing, and you're just like, I'm playing the same things every time, and like this chord to this chord, like I always sound like this, and like I just don't like the way I sound. And it becomes this thing where it's like it's all based on this autopilot vocabulary that you've built. And so when you insert these limitations, or when you insert something like what you're talking about with this extended period of like, okay, well, we can't just keep doing the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
We got to try something else. So take a chance, try this different thing, and fundamentally just get rid of these limitations that you have in your mind of like, I have to play this certain line because I know it always works in this particular place, like whatever it is. You can open up some weird doors that you never knew were there.
I'm a huge fan of using limitations to spark creativity. It sounds counterintuitive if you're not familiar with that concept. You're like, oh, limitations. I want to have the complete freedom to do whatever, but if you can do anything, then it's just overwhelming. So if you can really dial in, okay, I'm going to play one note up and then one note down, whatever the scheme is, you're like, oh, okay, now I have to actually think about what I'm doing, and that'll force you to develop new vocabulary.
I got to do a lesson one time with Taylor Eichste, and he's a incredible piano player. And I was playing some stuff, and he stopped me, and he was like, all right, you can only use fingers 2 and 3 on your right hand. And I was like, oh shit, because now I've got to try to play creative sounding lines and things that sound like melodic, but I can't do the same stuff I normally do on the keys. Right. I've got to figure out how to do it just this way, and it's the whole different thing. For sure, you know.
That's cool.
Another time I took a lesson, and I took a lesson with Gerald Clayton. A great piano player. Actually, John Clayton's son.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Phenomenal piano player. But he was like, he told me, he was like, all right, get up. He's like, I'm going to play and you're going to sing. I was like, yo, I don't know. Really? Yeah. And you think of totally different stuff when you're forced to just sing it and not just,
muscle memory.
Just use the muscle memory stuff. Like you are forced to completely create stuff from scratch, and you'll realize like, okay, the ideas that are actually in my ear are different than the shit that I find myself playing constantly.
Interesting.
And so that was an interesting limitation that
for sure.
I don't know, what did you like, what did your teachers have you do that explored that sort of?
Well, so I had a whole bunch of teachers, and like there's that one guy senior year, so first I think John Fetchock was like the teacher for trombone, but like he was sick this particular year, so they had this classical guy that also knew how to play jazz come in and teach, and he was just like, look, I just want you to just go up. Every line that you do, just go up, and then every line that you do, just go down, because I was playing the same shapes and I was playing within a box, and I was like, oh fuck, how can I get my box to fit this this concept of going up or going down, and then once I got that, then I really went out to New York and listened to things that I actually liked and formed like an emotional connection of like, oh, that's how I want to sound, like this way, or this aspect of the blues, or this aspect of, negative space or positive space in terms of playing and when to play. And then I'm like, and then I had the fortunate chance of like sitting in with those people that I really liked hearing. And I'm like, oh, so now that I have the technical ability to move around my instrument, and now that I have the technical ability to hear X, Y, and Z, now I can just simply stand on the bandstand and just try to emulate in the way that I know how. Mm-hmm. So, like that.
Mm-hmm. I have a question for you, because I'm curious, because we have found with a lot of the stuff that we talk about that the parallels across, to things like whether it's fighting, athletics, like fighting is an obvious one, but especially like football, the whole concept of the level of improvisation that we're talking about, does that happen? Like,
100%.
Because you'd figure, obviously, a lot of things are based on predetermined plays, but things don't always go the way you think they're going to go.
Pass rushing is an art form. And we will tell kids that are good enough to do these drills, you only get to use your right hand this play. And they have to pin their left hand to their body, and they have to pass rush on the outside and figure out a way to use one hand to get by this giant man. And the stuff that the limitations that you've create some of the most creative shit you've ever seen. Because now this kid, instead of just bull rushing and using his strength, is trying to be quicker around the edge. He gets a little lower, he gets a little faster. And now we're like, now use both hands. And it's art. It's unfucking believable. Yeah. I could show you highlight videos of people getting around people, and it's dance.
Yeah,
it's
that's
wild
crazy.
shit, dude.
Yeah.
So it's all the same. Everything you're saying is the same.
Yeah.
It's how can your coach push you to a point where you don't just go back to your vocabulary that you already know, where I know push-pull was my best move. I would bull rush you, you'd set your feet in the ground thinking I'm coming at you, and I'd pull you on your face, go right by you. Yeah. So how do I not just practice that all the time?
Yeah.
So then I would do things I'm uncomfortable with, the one-handed rush, the tilt and dump, all that kind of stuff. So it's all the same shit.
Yeah.
Everything you're saying, you can just change 3 words here or there, and you're talking about fucking teaching defensive line.
What sort of limitations would you, like, in the context of fighting? Like, how do you introduce those limitations when you're training?
That's different. You would never tell somebody you can only fight with one hand because that's just dangerous. Yeah. It would be more like, we're going to get you so fucking tired you can barely stand up, and now we're going to send 3 guys at you. Every 30 seconds they're going to change. So fresh guys coming at you. So the limitation is now your cardiovascular health, basically.
Yeah, sure.
You're so fucking tired you can't do everything you're normally supposed to do. So you better get smart. Because you can't be fast, you can't be powerful, you better get smart. So the limitations come in the realm of, we're going to get you so tired you can't stand up, basically, and keep sending people at you. So now you need to be the smartest fighter in the room, not the quickest, not the strongest, not the best. So those are the kind of limitations you'd pass in fighting.
Well, and it's interesting because the improvisational aspect of fighting is, that's obvious, right? Because it's a dance, and it's this constant, like, having to interpret
martial arts.
Yeah, it's just having to interpret what your opponent is doing. And so that's a fascinating kind of crossover. Like, and I find it's always cool to I wonder, obviously, aside from the super technical things that we might be talking about, but some of the greater concepts in improvisation that we're talking about here must be triggering, for in your mind, like, sort of the relationships across, the different things that you do where this is applicable.
Of course.
Because, like, I don't know, it's always interesting to put the conversation about these improvisational concepts into a different perspective, because then it's like changes the way you think about your own thing. So it's almost like if you imagine that, creating that limitation for like pass rushing, like now you think about that in a musical context and you're like, oh, huh.
People watch football and they literally think it's just people running into each other. It literally couldn't be further from the truth. When you see a boring play where the middle linebacker goes straight through an opposite A-gap and tackles a dude for a 1-yard loss, and the crowd's like, huh. I see that, and I'm like, holy shit. He watched that guard step that direction and knew there was going to be 12 inches right now if I go to get right through that opposite A-gap. And if he hands that ball off, I'm the fucking hero. That's amazing. That's smart. It's art. It's everything. I read his feet. I'm reading the music. I saw an opening. I took it. I took a risk. I went through, and everybody cheered for me. So it's this amazing thing. It's like, it's all the same shit. It's like the death metal comment I made earlier. Yeah. People listen to death metal. Who the fuck is this? It's like, well, you just don't know what you're listening to. Actually, a lot of it's insanely difficult. Right. Yeah. So it's all the same.
Where have a lot of the influences for you guys come from with, because you clearly you have influences from so many different.
I got to pause real quick. I had a bad news. I have to go by 2. I'm very sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
All good.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. So, yeah, I mean, it's all the music we like, which is a lot of stuff. So we studied jazz, but we also grew up listening to Rage Against the Machine.
Right.
And, there's electronic influences. So we like, I don't know if you can call the music jazz. It kind of gets thrown into that category, and it is sort of related, but it's really the improvisational element that we're borrowing from jazz, put into the soundscape of electronic music, but also with like the aggression sometimes of metal.
Yeah.
We have these sort of metal breakdowns, kind of disguised as video game music.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, there's so many different influences.
I feel like I've heard somebody describe Sungazer that way, like manic jazz video game like craziness in some like
which
way.
Is super cool.
It's amazing.
Right, I like to think it's a prog metal band disguised as video games.
There you go. Yeah, no, that's great. I like that. That's perfect. Yeah, that's amazing.
So, I mean, Adam and I are big like fusion fans, jazz fusion from the 70s and 80s, and like Weather Report and Novice New Orchestra.
Yeah.
But then all of this other stuff. So it comes out naturally because it's just like, I don't know, this is the stuff we like, so it just ends up coming through us. Yeah.
Well, it comes through very clearly, and it's fucking amazing.
Dude.
It's fucking great.
I wanna wrap this up, and I know Vinny's got to go. With one of our favorite segments, and this is always this is always a fun segment when we have a musician on the channel, because this is a segment we like to call Bad Music Advice.
Yes. Okay.
So.
I can't give good advice, so this is great.
Just to give you the rundown of how this works. So Jake is not educated in music theory on an in-depth level. I hate to say Jake doesn't know anything about theory because he's not clueless. He knows some stuff, and he actually plays the piano really well. But he just, he doesn't have, I would say, the level of education that probably the three of us do when it comes to music.
The level of education that we do.
That sounds like such a fucking pretentious thing. Here I am trying to make Jake sound like, I'm like, no, he knows what he's talking about.
No, but he's an idiot.
Oh my God.
Unlike us.
Anyways, so this is one of our favorite segments. This is Bad Music Advice.
Okay.
Oh God. Oh no.
There we go.
This is the definition and full explanation of a sextet.
All right.
He's trying to figure out what it actually is.
Yeah.
A sextet is a group of musicians who have aligned all of their chakras and come to the realization that the peak purpose of everything in life, especially music, is sex and free love, and who make music that's perfect for fucking.
They aligned all their genitals.
Okay, we're going to wind up with a hot tub in the basement and a pile full of Polaroids falling out of the ceiling. Many jazz musicians haven't received the memo on this and are instantly, and instead of making sexual tunes people can gyrate to, they opt to create the most unnecessarily complicated and unlistenable tunes in history for reasons which remain a mystery.
He gets it. He gets it.
It does happen.
Oh my God. The first jazz musicians to become enlightened to the truth and form the first sextet were the Backstreet Boys in 1993.
Brilliant.
They performed their hit single "We've Got It Going On" for the first time at the Grand Ole Opry on Christmas Day of '96. All of the concert goers' third eyes were instantly opened, and the official Guinness World Records largest orgy of people dressed in Santa and Rudolph costumes ensued.
Oh yeah.
Jesus Christ. Unfortunately, all of the Backstreet Boys died in 2002 from dehydration due to a lack of Powerade during a marathon performance at the Village Vanguard.
That's good, man. I like it.
There was an attempt at a sextet renaissance in the years that followed with the formation of groups like the Justin Bieber Big Band.
Oh my God.
But this movement was ultimately unsuccessful because no one wanted to have sex to these testicle and ovary piercing songs. Oh my God. Sextets are still rare in today's oppressed society. A chicken or the egg scenario ensues. No one fucks like they mean it anymore. This is partly due to TikTok, anime, and chemicals in the water, but also because it's hard to find music to fuck to. Jesus Christ. This is a call to all musicians to start their spiritual journey and form their best sextets so we can promote the idea of fucking like you mean it.
I love that. Good
Holy
job.
shit.
Oh my God, Jesus
wow.
Christ.
He's writing a book, by the
Oh
way.
my God.
It's going to be it's just a full explanation of music theory.
Yeah.
Music theory, term by term, one by one, destroying the fabric of all that is sensible music, anything.
Amazing.
I love it. Anyways, Shawn, thank you so much for
Yeah,
being
it
here.
was great.
Dude,
Tell us
Charles,
really quickly,
hey,
give us a rundown. What are you guys up to in the near future? Because I know you're going on tour, both
Yes.
in the U.S. and Europe coming up. Tell everybody about that and where they can find stuff about Sungazer. And search Shawn Crowder on YouTube because you have a great YouTube channel.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, so Sungazer is going to be on tour in the U.S. In September and October, and we'll be in Europe in November, and then we'll have some more stuff next year. But yeah, that's where you can catch us.
Wicked.
Check us out on Instagram,
yeah.
Sungazer with 4 R's.
4 R's.
Yeah.
You guys have a website? Like, I mean, I know who's
Not really. I mean,
yeah,
but
who really does?
it's like YouTube and Instagram and
Yeah.
all that. So
And does Sungazer have? Is there? Do you have your own YouTube channel?
Nope.
Okay.
At this point, it's just between Adam and I.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
Adam Neely, Shawn Crowder on YouTube. Find all the stuff for Sungazer on there and check it out because it's in Spotify. Obviously, go listen to
Yeah,
Sungazer on
definitely.
Spotify because it's fantastic. So
Cheers,
yeah,
boys.
thanks so much for
Yep.
being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks for
and
having me.
we'll do it again. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
See you next time. Bye.